6th of October, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Recording in progress.
Olu, I was just actually looking some things up, and there's somebody that wrote a thing in, and they said they stopped this. I don't know. I'm having problems over here with the. Why do I got an echo? Let's see what's going on. Try again. No, still the same problem.
I'm saying that whenever you talk, Phil's window lights up. Phil, maybe your is in the wrong. Yeah, try that. Try it out now, Rabbi.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
all right.
Going on at Phil's location. Probably the speaker is feeding back into his microphone.
Okay. So I was just looking, and I found the Gemora about the famous Gemora about the Shetels. Is the Gemora is, if you want to know where it is, it's in Ksuvis. It's in Ksuvis, Ayin Beis Amid Aleph, 72a. And yeah.
All right, maybe I'll look that up. If I have Kshubas, I'll have to see if I have it.
Yeah, and of course there's there's a lot of discussion. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, Alan.
Morning, Alan.
Okay, so let's go to Bava Metzia.
They're working in the building.
Good.
So,
That's what workmen do. They work.
You better mute, Alan. It's coming out pretty loud.
Okay.
what page?
If they're working, we gotta also go to work.
They work and we work.
Right. 10B1 or no?
10. Let's see where we got up to.
I'm on 10B4.
What did you say?
My marker is on 10B4.
10B4.
Oh, Omer Ravina? We're up to Omer Ravina, I think.
All right, let me see if I can find that. Is that on 10B?
Whether we read the Rashis? I think we read all the Rashis too, yeah. Omer Ravina, it's about it's the last third of the page.
Okay.
First word of the line is ein shliach ledvar avera.
It's on page 10B2 in the art scroll. Right-hand column, second paragraph. The Gemora answers.
Thank you.
Okay, Alan, you want to start?
I'll start, but I don't know if you can hear me. Okay.
Oh,
10 b
okay.
2. The Gemora answers.
Oh, wow.
I don't think you can hear me. I think someone else should start.
Okay. Next time.
Yeah.
Please mute, Alan.
Let me.
Mute. Mute your microphone so we don't hear the construction.
Right. I'll listen.
Okay, thank you, Alan.
Okay.
Okay, Roy, you want to take over for Alan?
All right. The Gemara answers, Omar Ravina. Ravina said, Heiko Amarinan Da'ain Shaliach Lidabar Avera. Where do we say that there can be no agent for an act of transgression? There can be no agent for an act of transgression. Eicha Shaliach Ba Hayuva Hu. Where the agent is a responsible party, that is, he's subject to the Torah's injunction against committing the act of transgression. Where he's subject to the Torah's Aval
Aval.
Behotzar Delov Ba Ayuvo Hu. But with regard to a courtyard, which is not a responsible party, Mechayev Shulacho, its sender, that is, its courtyard owner, he's liable.
Okay. So we found ourselves right in the middle of a sugi over here. So we really don't really understand what's going on over here unless we go back to what we were talking about before. So what we were talking about before is we said that we said that a katana can she receive her get in a chatzer, in a courtyard? So there were two views on that. How does the chatzer act to accept the get on behalf of the katana? It's a girl underage. So one way we said was as a shliach. It serves, the chatzer is like a shliach of the girl. But then we brought a source that, what do we say over here? Oh, we challenged that. How could it be that the chutzner is acting as a shliach? Because we had a brisa. This is just the Gemora right before Ravina. You have to see what it says before Ravina to understand what's going on with Ravina. What's Ravina talking about? What's he responding to? The brisa says the sanya biyado ein li ela biyado gago chatzero kafifo menayin. When it comes to finding a object in the hand of a ganav that he has to pay a kefil now. So if you find it in his hand, so he's you caught him red-handed. Go to head, but if you found it in his chatzer, What happens if he closed the animal, the stolen animal? It walked into his chutzner and then he locked the door of the chutzner. Rashi said over there. Talmud Lomar, he matzah timatzeh. Yeah, he'll dive on that too. That's the double lashon of the pasuk. Mikol makom. Anyway, even if it's not in his hand, but it's in his under his domain and control. But if you thought that chutzner works as a shliach, if so, then it's a shliach to do an avera, and we know that the rule is kaimalon ain't shliach l'dvar avera. There's no such thing as agency which does an avera. There's no agency for the doing of an avera. Okay, so according to that, what we were saying was that that would mean that if the ganav is going to be liable because the chutzner is acting as a shliach, the Gemora asked, "Ain't shliach l'davar avera?" No, it can't impute the ganav because there's no such thing as shlichus l'davar avera. On that, Ravina is saying that is not a good question that you have asked, says Ravina. That's not a good question that you've asked from this brisa. You can't say shliach l'dvar avera in regard to a courtyard, because the whole principle of ein shliach l'dvar avera is when Jew number one tells Jew number two to go do a thievery. So when Jew number two goes and does a thievery, so we're gonna who's gonna be chayav for the theft? Jew number two. He's the one that did it. He can't say, "Oh, I was told to do this by Jew number one, so I'm just acting as a shliach." And we say, "No, ain't shliach l'dvar avera." There's no such thing as agency when it comes to doing an avera. So Jew number two would be liable. So if so, then the brisa, we're saying, how could it be that it works because of shlichus? Because ain't shliach l'dvar avera. So Ravina says, no, that's not a good question because it's clear that this principle of ain't shliach l'dvar avera applies when you have Jew number one telling Jew number two to do an avera. But when you have Jew number one using a chutzner to do an avera, so of course the chutzner can make the acquisition and implicate the Jew the Jew that used the chutzner to do the thievery. That's what the brisa says over there. Okay.
We recording?
But that doesn't even get to the root of the argument. But we're going to go weiter anyway. Okay.
Yes, Roy, we are recording.
Okay.
Elami Ata. Unless we have a Rashi over here. Does Rashi have something to say over here? Yes, Rashi has a Rashi over here. Dibur maskil bar chiyuvahu. Phil, you want to read?
Okay, hopefully you won't have any problem with the Max business. Where are we starting? Which Rashi?
Rashi Dibur maskil bar chiyuvahu. Oh yeah, I see. We got big problems over here.
Yeah, it's when you talk back into
enough when I say something once that you have to hear what I have to say once. You have to hear what I say.
Okay, where is the bar chiyuv? Yeah, I'll say it and then I'll turn my mic off. I'm trying to find the beat bar.
In the middle of the
middle is
little further down than the middle of Rashi column.
First,
I found it. I found the Baal Yovahu. Okay, it's right after the word daf, where it says on the right after the daf nemet base. It says, okay, it's on the end of the line. Bar Yovahu. It's under the Kaima law. V'kvar Yovahu. Sha'af hu, even him, muzhar is like warned al hadavar on the thing chatam there patar hasholeach the shliach, the one who sends him, is patar the reading, because you can say like to him divrei Rav, the divrei hatalmud. If you have the words of the Rav and you have the words of the Talmud, divrei me, showing who do you listen to. I mean, so it's basically saying that you're listening, when you sit in that issue is you listen to the Rav or the Talmud, you always listen to the Rav. And this is kind of like a question about telling you about you shouldn't do a thing, be a shliach for a thing of error. It's not your fault. The guy tells you to do an error, don't listen to him, because Hashem tells you not to do of errors. So it wasn't, and he should not, it's not for him to do.
Good.
That's that.
Okay, Lou, you want to read the next Rashi? The lav b'nei chiyuva ninhu.
La b'nei chiyuva ninhu. The Shalem kide sanan.
Oh, you know, sorry, I think it's the next. It's very similar to the words that we have that we just read from Ravina, but I think it's connected to the very next sentence of the Gemora. We have those words exactly. Isha ve'eved b'nei chiyuva ninhu, right? Well, this says lav b'nei chiyuva ninhu. Okay, but I think it's, I think it's, it's later. Let's take a look at the Gemora later. Okay, Lou, you want to read the next Gemora? Elama ata.
Ata, but now, ha omer leisha ve'ed se'u ganvu li. He says to a woman or a slave, go steal from me. The lav b'nei chiyuva ninahu.
Oh boy.
Since they are not responsible parties, hachi nami de mi chayev sholchan. Here also, the sender is liable. It's a question. Is the sender liable? So the sender says, go steal from me, but apparently a woman and a slave are not considered to be responsible parties. And therefore, the Gemora is rhetorically asking, isn't the one who said, go steal from me, isn't he the one that's liable?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the Gemara is asking a kasha on what Ravina said. Oh, I'm getting deeper and deeper into a hole. That's what's happening over here. I don't have really the thread of the Gemara. And now the Gemara is going to another step. which is not understandable because we don't know the foundation. Okay. Let's just do the best that we can over here. Oh, what did, okay, yeah. Well, stuck.
Well, it seems to me that what it's saying is, Ravina says, if you don't have a responsible party, there's no agency, and that's being challenged, but they're saying, so you're saying that if he says to a woman or a slave, go steal for me, that and they do steal, that the woman or the slave is not responsible? How can you say that? That's bizarre. And now it's going to answer, and it's going to say the woman and the slave are responsible. So I think we need to read on a little bit.
Okay, I think what we're doing is we're getting ourselves further and further into a hole. But okay, I'll take your. Let's do what you suggest, and we'll read further.
I'm rot. You can say Isha ve'eved b'nei chiyuva ninahu. A woman and a slave are responsible. V'hashta miha le lahu l'shalume. And now, hashta miha, and now, however, they do not have any means to pay. They do not have to pay. They're not able to pay. Disnan, as we learned in the Mishnah, nisgarsha ha'isha nishtarar ha'eved. The woman, if the woman became divorced and the slave was freed, chayavin l'shalem, they are able to pay. I guess so. So that implies that if they're not, the woman is not divorced, but the slave is not freed, then they are not able to pay.
Okay.
You're right, Rabbi. It's clear as mud.
Yeah. Okay. So the problem is that we started Ravina and we didn't really know what Ravina was trying to answer. Let's try to go back, and I tried to explain it, but I guess I didn't explain it fully. It all starts with the fact that we wanted to say that right, we had a machlokes Reb Yochanan and Rish Lakish. Their machlokes was Rish Lakish said Katana ein la chotzer, she doesn't have a chotzer. Reb Yochanan said Mishum Rav Yanai yesh la chotzer veyesh la arba amos. What did that mean? What does it mean that she has or doesn't have a chotzer? In other words, in terms of receiving a get, if the husband throws the get into the chotzer of this katana, she's Why she has to be a katana, I don't know. That would just let's leave that on the side. But there's a machlokes whether the there's a machlokes whether the chotzer will be kona the get for the katana. Okay, and the Gemora said, what's the Mamaika Mefligi? What are they arguing about? Mar Savar Mishum Yada is Rabbi Chotzer is Mishum Yada is the what's the source for a Chotzer being Kona the get? Is it because it's regarded as her hand, like it says in the pasuk, Nasan Biyodo? He puts the get in her hand, and so just like she has a hand to receive a get, she's also got Hutzer is regarded like a hand. Okay, so that'll give her a get. But the other Manda Omar holds that Hutzer works mishum shlichus, and the Gemara said ki heichi the shlichus leisla. Since she is a katana, there is no shlichus. Ain't shlichus lekatan. That's a klal in the Talmud. There's no shlichus for a katan. So one who says it won't work is because he holds that that the chatzer is kona for a person who's of age, because it acts as a shliach, and so that'll work if the person is of age. He's a gadol or a gadola. Also, man or woman, doesn't matter whether a man or a woman, but they have to be of age, and then there'll be shlichus for a person who's of age. But for a katana, there is no shlichus, so that's why it's not going to work. Chatzanami leisle, so she has no chatzah. That's why Rabbi Yochanan says. That's why Reish Lakish says ein la chatzah. She doesn't have a chatzah to be kohen, because he holds it works like a shliach. Okay, so now the Gemara is asking from the Brisa that we see that the Brisa darshans from the pasuk about a ganav, that if you find the stolen item in the chatzir of the ganav, he'll pay kefil. And the Gemara asked the question: if you itzo kedaita chatzah mishum shlichus is rabbi, if you thought like Reish Lakish that shlichus works because it's acting as a shliach of the sender, in kain metzino shliach ledvar avera. If so then you're saying that there's shlichus ledvar avera. You're saying that there's agency to do an avera. V'kaim alon ain't shliach ledvar avera. We know that we don't say that there's shlichus for a dvar avera, because like Phil read from Rashi, divra Talmud, divra Rav, divra Mishomim. When you have the Talmud saying to do geneva, but you don't listen to him because you have to listen to the Rav. Hashem is the Rav. He says don't do geneva. So he shouldn't have listened to the Talmud, and that's the reason why there's no shliach ledvar avera. There's no shlichus, meaning that if the Jew number 2 does the avera, so he will be the one who'll be chayav for the avera, not the one that told him and sent him to do the avera. Okay, so what's the bottom line over here? Bottom line is that the Gemara is trying to prove that it cannot be that Chotzer works mitam shlichus. Is that right? Right. It can't be working here mitam shlichus. That's the point. Because if it's working mitam shlichus, the Gemara says it shouldn't work. Because there's no such thing as shlichus for Geneva. Okay, so Ravina is addressing himself to that question, and Ravina is saying that what? When do we say that there's no shlichus to do Geneva? That's when you have Jew number 1 and Jew number 2. Jew number 2 is a bar chiyuva. He's chayiv to not do to not he cannot do Geneva. He cannot do Geneva. So that's shliach l'dvar avera. So if he does it, so he's the one that did it, and he's chayav. Aval chotzer the lav bar chiyuvu. Chotzer doesn't have a mitzvah in the Torah. Don't do Geneva, Mr. Chotzer. A chotzer is a chotzer. He's not a bar chiyuva. He's not chayav to do mitzvahs. He's not chayav to refrain from doing Geneva. He's just a chotzer. So therefore what should be? These last words we have to read. Machayev sholcho. So Ravina says that who's going to be the one who's going to be chayev in the case of the chotzer? We're not going to say, oh, chotzer, you're the one that's chayev for the Geneva because you shouldn't have listened to the ganav that allowed the animal, the stolen animal, to be put into your courtyard. No, the chotzer doesn't the chotzer doesn't listen to anything. He doesn't do anything. So who's the one that's going to be chayev? Obviously, the ganav is going to be chayev, but it's not because of shlichus. It's got nothing to do with shlichus over there. In other words, Ravina is showing us that you can't disprove that chotzer works mitam shlichus. Ravina is suggesting chotzer does work mitam shlichus. It's just that in a case of an avera, that principle of ein shlich l'vdor avera doesn't apply in that case. So therefore, Ravina is defending the Gemora from the question that the Gemora itself asked on Reish Lakish from the Brisa that was talking about the gun of putting the stolen item in the chotzer. Okay. Okay. So now I think we're ready to go to the Elamiyata. So what does it say in the Elamiyata? Now, Elamiyata, the minute you read those words, you know that the Gemora is asking a question on Ravina. Elamiyata, oh, but now, according to what you've just said, something's difficult. What's difficult? What's difficult is this case with the guy that tells the Eved or the Isha to go and do Geneva. What's the din over there? Omer Isha the Eved. Su ugan vuli. Go and steal for me. Lav b'nei chiyuva ninhu. They're not b'nei chiyuva. Now, what does it mean that they're not b'nei chiyuva? Obviously, they're commanded not to steal. A woman is commanded not to steal, and so too an Eved. They're chayav in the mitzvah of Geneva. So what does it mean that they're lav b'nei chiyuva? Let's take a look at Rashi. Rashi says chiyuva ninhu.
If you're talking about the person who's telling somebody to steal, they're the ones who shouldn't be bar chiyuva, because it's the individual who should say, I can't do this. You know, I'm not allowed to steal because you told me to steal for you. But let's see what the Rashi says on that anyway. You're up to the lav bar chiyuv ninhu. Is that the one you're up to, or after that? The lav b'nei chiyuv. They're not chayav. L'sholem, to pay. Tanan, like we taught, Haim Shechavlo Ba'acherim, the ones who wound others, are Paturim. And it's in Baba Kama. Tough. That's tough Zion.
Rabbi Levitt, you're muted, Rabbi Levitt.
The Gemara over there says in Kedushin, no, sorry. I'm getting confused. I can't hear myself.
Well, you need to mute.
I'm going to mute.
There's a Mishnah in Bava Kama. Rashi, the editor tells us it's Bava Kama Pei Zion, and the Mishnah says these are the people who Pigiosan Ra. These are the people that don't start up with them. Don't get involved with them because you're going to end up on getting the raw end of the deal. What's going on? It says over there that Eved ve'isha pigiosan ra shachovel behem chayev. Whoever damages them, the Eved or Isha, they got to pay. They got to pay. They did the damage to an Eved or Isha. You got to pay. But for some reason, which I don't remember what the reason is, but behem shechavlu ba'acherim paturim. They don't pay for their damage. So that's what we mean over here when we say the lav b'nei chiyuv ninhu. We don't mean to say that the Eved or the Isha is not liable. We don't mean to say it's mutter for them to steal. What we're saying is, like Rashi says, l'shalem. For some reason, we'd have to take a look at what the reason is over there in the Gemora and Bava Kama. We're not getting into the actual reason why. We're just taking the Gemora's word for it, based upon that Mishnah in Bava Kama that we didn't look up, that the din, that there is some case, some situation where they would be putter for the Geneva that they did, even though they were not allowed to do it. So that's what it means over here. Lav b'nei chiyuv v'ninhu. Ha'omer le'isha ve'eved su v'ganvu li. Jew number 1 says to either an eved or to an isha, go out and do a geneva for me. And we say lav b'nei chiyuv v'ninhu. They meaning the eved or the isha, they would not be liable to pay for it. So we're asking, Hachanami, Dimchayev Shochan, would you say that in that case as well, that the one that's going to pay for it is the one that told them to go and do the Geneva? Would you say that? That's what the Gemara's question is. Now, in other words, the Gemara is making a parallel between the Chatzer, which is not a bar chiyuva on the Geneva, because it's not obligated in mitzvahs at all, and the Eved and the Isha, and we said, Ravina said that in that case, of course, we're not going to make obligate the Chatzer to pay kefil for the geneva that it did. We're gonna obligate the ganav that put the animal in the chotzer. He's going to be the one who's going to be chayav to pay. But it's got nothing to do with ein shlichus ledvar avera, says Ravina, because that principle only applies when you have Jew number 1 and Jew number 2, who are both liable for the mitzvah of the prohibition not to do geneva. But a chutzah doesn't have a prohibition not to do geneva, so it's got nothing to do with shlichus. He's chayav, the guy that the ganav is going to be chayav. That's all. Now, on that, so now the Gemara is asking, but what about this case of Jew number 1 that tells an Eved or an Isha to go out and do a geneva? Now, they themselves, the Eved or the Isha, they are like the Jew number 1 and Jew number 2. So really, the principle of ein shlich ledvar avera should apply. Ein shlich ledvar avera should apply. And what will that mean? That should mean that the Eved or the Isha will be the one who has done the avera of geneva. But now the question is going to be, now who's going to pay for it though? Because we're saying that the Eved and the Isha, they're putter on the payment for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason is. I would have to take a look at the Gemora and Bava Kama over there. We're not going to get into that right now. But that's what it says over there, and that's what the Gemora is saying over here. Rashi's explaining, not saying that they're not b'nei, they're not like a chotzer, that they're not obligated in the prohibition of geneva. Obviously, they're doing avera when they do geneva. But for some unknown reason, they're not going to be chayav to pay for it. Not going to be chayav to pay for it. So on that, the Gemara is asking, Hachinami the mechayev sholchan. Would you say also in this case, Ravina, that will go back to Jew number 1 that told them to do the geneva and tell him to pay for the geneva that the Eved or the Isha did? Is that what we're going to do? Now, that's what the Gemara is saying. It's 12:30. We don't have any time to explain though what the point of the Gemara's question is though. Okay, but we got the setup now, I think, and so don't forget anything that we said today. And we'll continue with this tomorrow.
Hey.
All right.
Have a good day.
So now you got 2 Gemoras to look up. Now you got the Gemora in Ksuvas that talks about a peya, a sheita. Ksuvas 72. Where is it? I wrote it down here. 72a, and this Gemora in Bava Kama about the woman being putter on the geneva, on the havola. That's Bava Kama Pei Zion. Okay, so we got 2 interesting Gemoras. Okay, so everybody have a great day, a great week, and Hatzlacha Rabbah.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Be well.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.